It's off the tracks. It's Jhett. It's Rafe. Welcome back. We're here with our second of 3 interviews in honor of Veterans Day. Today we have got Spencer Herzog on the podcast today. First of all, if you haven't checked out our first interview with Christian Hagan, go ahead and check that out. And we're going to bring on Spencer here. Ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Herzog, give it up. We got you some intro music coming in.
We got some intro music for our guests. All right.
Spencer, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Happy to be on the show.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you. So, First of all, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you did in the service. You were in the Marines, correct?
Yes. Spencer Herzog, graduated from high school in 2011. Went to college for a year, then decided to join the United States Marine Corps. I served for 6.5 years. Most of my time was spent overseas, but it was a pretty good experience overall.
So I think that takes us right into our first question. You said you were overseas. Where did you travel to, and what would you say your favorite place to travel to was?
Throughout the years, I saw both coasts of the United States, spending time in North Carolina, South Carolina, and a good portion in California. After California, I went straight to Okinawa, Japan, and I spent 5 years there. While stationed there, I went through a couple different training deployments that brought me to Korea and the Philippines. Each of those countries, I spent about 3 to 6 months in a piece. To label which country was my favorite is somewhat difficult because I spent a large majority of time in Japan, and I really, really liked it there. There's a great culture. A lot of respect is given just by default to one another. Really, really great food as well. But, I met my wife in the Philippines, so I feel like I almost have to choose the Philippines as my favorite to get some brownie points at least.
So you talked about all these places you've been to. Was there like a huge culture shock to you? Like, obviously, I'm sure it was different than the United States, but was it like a huge difference, or were there some similarities there?
It was definitely scary in a way because, I was only, 19 when I first stepped foot in Okinawa, Japan. And I did not, some people, they kind of grouped up with a friend from boot camp, that one of the guys they made friends with, and they get to go to the same unit. But in my experience, or what I was dealt with, I didn't have anybody going to the same unit with me. So I went there completely alone, not knowing anybody at the age of 19. So as far as like the culture difference, at first it wasn't that so different because I had to stay on base. The restrictions in place made it to where Marines weren't really even allowed off base due to certain things that had happened before I had gotten there or whatnot. So culturally, it's basically more or less America. But as far as how it felt to me being a 19-year-old kid someplace that didn't know anybody, it was scary, but
Right.
I adapted quickly, and I had a great environment in the unit that I was stationed with. It was an electronics maintenance company, and they did a really good job in making me feel at home.
Right. So what really was the bit, and you and I have kind of talked about it a little bit, but what really inspired you to join the service?
I think the very first time I realized I wanted to be in the military was probably, I'd say as a teenager, like around the age of 13. I don't know whether it was a movie or books or what it was, but something made me think that was a heroic thing to do. Superheroes don't exist, but about the closest thing you can get is to serve your country in the military. It's kind of how my mindset was. As far as choosing the Marine Corps goes, I felt like if you're, at risk of insulting other branches, I felt like if if I was going to join the military, then I should join the most best branch that there is.
Right.
So that's why I chose them.
All right. So as a veteran yourself, what does Veterans Day mean to you?
Well, while you're in the service, you do get Veterans Day off. I believe it's a 4-day weekend for most people, so that's called a 96. You'll get like the Friday and Monday off for that weekend. For the most part, a lot of drinking goes on, but that's not the point of it, obviously. Veterans Day is very commonly mistaken to be similar as Memorial Day. So Memorial Day is the day where we honor and respect the comrades that have fallen in wars. It's a day of remembrance where you're supposed to give respect to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice to their country. Veterans Day is the day where you're supposed to be thankful to the people who are still living. Still walking around on Earth, who gave any amount of time to service honorably. So if you have grandparents or parents or relatives or friends, any of those people who served, that's the day you want to kind of think about what they did, what sacrifices they may have made, and shoot them in text and just say, hey, thanks. I'm happy to know someone who was willing to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a very good answer because
Absolutely.
in school, we celebrate both Veterans Day and Memorial Day.
Right.
And I mean, whenever I was younger, they kind of felt the same. And I'm sure there's a lot of kids who kind of may confuse those. And I think it is important to know the difference between the two.
Absolutely. So, obviously, I'm sure I've heard some of these.
Yeah, we've heard some of the stories.
But I know you've got some very good stories. What would be, obviously, keeping it PG, what was one of your favorite stories from your time in the service?
That's a tough one. I guess favorite stories. Keeping it simple, it'd probably be during one of the training operations. So out in the Philippines, the electronics maintenance isn't that exciting of an MOS. You're just working on radios or electronic parts. There's still the oddball chance that you get to deploy and go out into the field. Well, one of these occasions, I found myself out in the field with nothing really to do in my MOS because you can't really fix radios in the sand and dirt. You have to, so you help other MOSs while you're out there.
Right.
And I was lucky enough to be placed on a working party team to work with the combat engineers and the more or less the welding individuals. So for about 2 weeks, I helped weld together this big sheet metal box that probably weighed upwards of 2,000, 3,000 pounds. And once we get it all finished and done, we took it out into the middle of the sandy field that we were at in the Philippines and filled it up with all kinds of more dirt. Then, I got to kind of help out with the combat engineers to make this huge bomb and blow it up.
That sounds
like a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
If I'm being honest.
That sounds like a ton of fun.
So there might be some kids listening right now who are interested in joining the service. So what would you say to kids, or what advice would you have for kids who are interested in joining the service?
I think that it's a wonderful idea and a wonderful opportunity. There's, being in it, I would never lie or misguide anyone. While I was there's times that I really hated it. I knew being in that I was going to be thankful for the things that I've learned and did, but I also knew that this isn't what I wanted to career out of. I have friends that are still serving, best friends, to where they had a completely different mindset. They really loved it and they want to do a full career in it. So I can't say that my way of thinking is the way everybody would think, but for me, I am very happy that I got a chance to serve, and I think that anybody who is on the fence about doing it or not, especially coming out of high school, there's no reason not to. If you think you want to do it, do it. If you don't like it, you get out in 4 years, you get to go to college for free. So I just don't get the point of being hesitant about it. Pull the trigger and go.
Absolutely. Spencer, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. It's been a lot of fun. You gave some really good answers, kind of educating people on Veterans Day and telling some fun stories while we're at it.
Yep.
Thank you so much for
also, thank you for your service, too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Happy Veterans Day.
We appreciate that a lot. Hope you have a good day. Stay safe.
Enjoy some pizza making tonight.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll be down there. I hope you guys enjoy your scavenger hunt.
Yep.
Thanks so much, Spencer. It's been a pleasure, my man.
All right, bye. You guys have a good one.
You too. Spencer Herzog, everybody. That was a good one. That was a fun one. Really, he got into it a little bit too on the difference between Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and then just some things within the service. And that one was obviously service-wise. We cut out once, so you might see an edit there.
Yeah.
But the service was definitely better than Greece.
Yeah, I would say so
for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, if you haven't watched the most recent podcast or any podcast that we've done, make sure you go ahead and check out those.
Yep.
Make sure you like and subscribe.
Go check out our first interview.
Our first interview with Christian Hagen.
We have one more coming out tomorrow.
Stay tuned for that. Turn post notifications on so you know when it comes out.
Yep.
Thanks so much for watching.
Happy Veterans Day. Stay
Peace.
safe. Peace.